In today's episode, we're going to talk about the seller partnering strategy. Make a win-win deal for homeowners and investors using this strategy. Now, I recently interviewed Tye Glover on my podcast, and I thought it was interesting enough that I wanted to bring it to this YouTube channel. I want you to watch this interview with him and see if it's not yet another opportunity to make some money where there once was none. So check it out. It's another tool that could be put in your tool belt, another option instead of walking away or dumping a lead in the trash. It's a chance or an idea for you to pursue if you're not ready to give up on that thing yet. So check it out. Here's my interview with Tye Glover. All right, Tye, so we're about to open up the subject. First, can I get a little bit of your background so people kind of know where you are and where you're from and how you came to this day in a life?
All right. So my background is basically I've been in corporate America for the last 30 some odd years. My goodness gracious, time flies. My primary background is in supply chain. So I go in there and I'm the one that actually helps these companies put in supply chain systems to do their planning, how much of the demand they're going to have, what the supply is, where they should manufacture and so forth. And this idea kind of came out of a divorce I was going through roughly in 2011, where we were having to liquidate all of our assets, including the house. And when I looked around, the investors that were looking at actually buying my house from me, because my house couldn't sell for anything more. We had just started a renovation on our kitchen when things fell apart. And so the kitchen was apart. Our relationship was apart.
Nothing like a kitchen renovation to ruin a marriage.
It does it. Within 1 year, it did it. And we were shoestringing the renovation anyway. So here we are trying to sell a home, and I'm being offered literally probably half to a quarter of what I should have been offered. Here's a property that is 2 blocks away from the main strip as far as Restaurant Alley is concerned, 2 blocks away from the train station directly in Philadelphia, 1 block away from the trolley. So I'm centrally located in an 1892 Victorian, and I know I was being lowballed. And so I spoke with an investor about possibly working with me to doing a partnership with me. When we started talking about the numbers and I started putting it into Excel, I really began to understand the opportunity that existed within my property and began to recognize that there's so much money there that I shouldn't necessarily just be giving it away to the investors. I should do this myself. That, going into a long story short, I started thinking, how do I pivot this and maximize this opportunity? Because I'm sure I'm not the only one that thought of this. And then the solution came from that, which is an online marketplace, allowing those homeowners to log on in a anonymous and secure environment, post their property, and have an understanding of what that property is truly worth based on the non-complex financial numbers that are presented. So it's easily a way for those homeowners to just put some very basic details into the property, and it will automatically calculate out A, what that renovation could cost based on 3 levels of condition, and B, what that investor may be willing to pay based on a 70%, purchasing rule and so forth, where that's variable as well. And therefore, that homeowner should be able to get a better understanding of at least the ballpark that they're in with regards to their property.
You're talking to homeowners that want to sell their house.
Right.
It's in disrepair or it has some problems. They don't have the money to fix it. So team up with an investor, and you may not get all of the upside, but you're also not having to. Well, that's another question. They don't have the money for the repair. So I guess the investor is putting in all the money for the repair. So it's a way to get the house repaired with none of their own money, but they're not going to get all the profit, of course, but they'll get some or half or whatever the deal is. So,
yeah. And that was key for me. As mentioned, when I was going through that situation, I didn't really know what my property was worth. I also was embarrassed about being in a situation that I was in the first place, having to sell the home. And I didn't want to talk to investors about it. But by having that secure, anonymous environment where I can put the numbers out there, and then what happens is investors can see that property. They can see it listed. And any number of investors can submit what they think the property may be worth to them based on the amount of money that they need to get from a standpoint of an ROI on each investment they're involved in, the amount of money they may want to spend on a particular investment, and what they see that neighborhood looking like with regards to the potential of it. Once they do that, they can submit that information back to that homeowner, which now gives that homeowner an opportunity to have multiple offers as compared to right now. That homeowner may receive a yellow letter in the mail or may see a bandit sign driving down the road, and then they're locked in with one potential opportunity to sell their property. Here, you've got a marketplace where investors will come in and potentially submit proposals for your property.
Okay, so how did your personal experience turn out with your house?
I'm still in my house. I was able to keep my house through determination and stubbornness. As mentioned, it had so much potential that I wasn't going to let it just go for nothing. And this was the end result of that. I started to recognize that, the homeowners really need to make more money. And it's not a matter of want to, they really need to. I spoke with one investor who mentioned, and I shouldn't have asked the question, but I asked about, well, what about the homeowners? Because I saw some shoes on the floor or whatever. And I said, what about the homeowner? Now, honestly, the investor is not really worried about the homeowner. They're worried about the home. But I couldn't stop thinking about the homeowner that was impacted by that situation. And when the investor said to me, when I asked about it, they said, well, they don't really care. They just kind of threw the keys at me. That really kind of hit me because no one really cares. I mean, no one doesn't care about giving up money. We all care about making as much money as we can from whatever we do. And a homeowner who's losing his home really cares about making as much money as they can make. So it wasn't necessarily a matter of them not caring. They just didn't have any other options. This is another option that gives them a chance to be able to put it out there in the marketplace and see what it's going to go for.
So how is it that you were having to sell your house and then you teamed up with an investor and you end up keeping the house? How did that work?
Well, to make a long story short on that one, I didn't actually partner with the investor. So I stepped away from it. I didn't do anything with my property. I was able to negotiate some refinancing on the property to actually keep it. But the idea was there, and the idea led to me writing a book. And I started putting together the book. I actually had it out there published for a little bit. Then I recognized it really wasn't where I wanted it to be. I pulled it back. But the next thing came in was the idea for the online marketplace. It's a matter of maximizing opportunities. And this was a tremendous opportunity that I wanted to take advantage of.
I hope you're enjoying my interview with Tye Glover. We want to take a pause here for just a second and plant in your brain the idea that you might want to hit that like button and that share button so that we could let the world know what we're up to. And of course, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. There is a lot of content coming over the next year. All right, so for everybody listening, we're going to have everything over in the show notes and talk about books or websites or podcasts or whatever we talk about. They'll be over there. You just have to go to 1000houses.com/invest out.
We actually do have a free membership as far as signing up for homeowners. So homeowners can sign up and upload one property or add in the details for one property for free. But we're low cost. I mean, my goal is not to make money off of people using the site because the marketplace, I think, is necessary for people who are out there. So for wholesalers, for example, or even realtors, we're $9 a month. So very modest price. For investors, we're only $19 a month. And that includes being able to A, post properties, but also B, being able to go and look and submit proposals on properties. And I think the big thing about this company is my background is in sustainability. So I'm one of those green guys, triple bottom line business practices. And what I've done with this is I've recognized the fact that the most important people in this deal are the homeowners and the investors. They are our primary number one stakeholders. But we do have stakeholders that are realtors and even the workers itself. All the folks that are going in there swinging hammers and put it in the time, that may not necessarily be just what they want to do as well. So with regards to the realtors, we give them an opportunity to be able to post those properties, bring in their 100 plus day old homes, add them into the portal. But also we have a new position that we've created within our structure called envoys, where these envoys are able to go in for those areas where they know there's a lot of these high potential value properties. They can actually go and license that territory and own that specific space where any property that comes in organically into that zip code, they own those properties from the standpoint of moving it through to the renovation and through to the onward sale where they're potentially going to get that actual final listing and being able to sell the property. So that means you can actually sell more properties because you have a differentiated service that you're being able to offer to customers, but you're also being able to sell those more properties at higher prices. which is a real tremendous benefit for realtors who are just struggling to make it past, that 87% that fail every year once they get their license. But when it comes to workers, we're looking at setting up training programs. I see the numbers on the market. I see the number of homes that are sold each year, and the amount of baby boomers, the amount of the silent generation, and even Generation X that are going to be retiring or have retired and don't have enough money to live on in retirement. And it's a crisis that we're really not looking at or dealing with at all. But yet homeowners, and that's why I keep saying they need to make more money when they sell their most valued asset. So we want to be able to bring in workers who can actually become investors. That's how I feel we're going to really grow this marketplace, to be able to not just go after that regular supply of contractors that are out there, but also bringing new folks into the space itself.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Tye Glover. It is definitely an idea to put in your back pocket, and maybe you'll pull it out one day and use it. So, because you've stayed till the end, I want to offer you a free ebook that is being given by the sponsor of this episode, taxfreefuture.com. It's really worth your time to explore tax-deferred or tax-free retirement vehicles so that you can get ahead in life. Imagine being able to grow your income and grow your savings without having to pay tax on it. That's what Tax Free Future offers. So check it out. You can get a free ebook that explains so many strategies that the rich are using, and it's the reason why the rich get richer. The rich get richer because they study the rules and the legal loopholes to avoid pain and to explode pleasure. The thing is, all of those rules, loopholes, and tactics and strategies are available for you too. You just have to do what the rich do. It's not just for the rich, it's for anyone. They separate themselves by taking advantage of these loopholes and their legal loopholes and strategies. To get this ebook from taxfreefuture.com, just click on this link right here or type in 1000houses.com/free-stuff and check out free ebook from taxfreefuture.com. All right, boys and girls, follow me to the next episode, because here we go.